Yo, lady, ooh, all that. So I'm gonna go over this whole entire subject to deal from A to fucking Z, from A to Z. All right, I'm gonna cover all the bases. So starting at the beginning stages, about a month and a half ago, my partner Ashley calls me up. She's like, "Hey, I have this older lady who she just needs help. Blah 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 blah. She's going through it all right now. So I basically tell she's in foreclosure at this point, and her properties are already scheduled for auction. Everything. So I was like, okay, you need to do A, B, C, and D. Talking about how to get that foreclosure stopped and extended to give us more time. So okay, great. I just left her property, but I'll be back tomorrow to sit down with her. Well, Ashley gets there, and her neighbor is there, and her neighbor is a real estate agent, and her neighbor she's not well versed in anything at all. She's kind of she's not smart. So she's like, yeah, I already got her under contract to sell her house for her. And Ashley's like, well, she said that she's not under contract. So what's going on? Well, no, she signed a contract and she had the property listed for an absurd amount, like an amount that this house will not sell for. So Ashley, all three of them are there. Ashley calls me and she's like, hey, this agent said they have it under contract and they're looking to sell it, but this is a really sweet lady. I'm getting bad vibes from this agent. So I'm like, shoot, let me call the agent. So I call the agent, get on the phone with her, and this agent doesn't know at all what's going on. She's playing like she's stupid, like she doesn't know that this house is in foreclosure and that it probably won't sell for the amount she's talking about, blah, blah, blah. So I just get off the phone with her and I call her broker, right? Like as soon as we have the phone, I call her broker. And I'm like, hey, do you guys have this property at blah, 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 blah under contract to sell? And he's like, yeah, I don't know what all my agents have, but everything we have is in this database. So let me give you a call in about an hour and let you know. An hour goes by, he doesn't call me back, so I call him right back. I'm like, hey, this is Johnny, I'm just checking on that, blah, blah, blah. So it's, oh yeah, we actually do have that property under contract. So at that point, I'm like, okay, you have it under contract? All right, sounds good. I wish you the best of luck. So I call Ashley, I'm like, hey, they have the property under contract. There's nothing we can do, right? Once they have it under contract, there's really nothing we can do. They have it. Well, while I was waiting to talk to that broker, Ashley and that agent were at the property, and Ashley got on the phone with the mortgage company and got the mortgage company to approve the lady for a loan modification and to stop the foreclosure. So Ashley's telling me that, and I'm like, yeah, great job, Ashley. You did an excellent job. But the problem is they have it under contract, so there's really nothing we can do. So Ashley's like, man, I did all this work for essentially nothing. And I'm like, yeah, but you did help this old lady out. Well, that's where that part one ended. Me just telling her like, hey, there's nothing we can do. We got to wipe our hands clean of this. Well, fast forward to a week ago. Ashley's just on Zillow doing her thing and sees that property is no longer an active listing, but an active auction listing through auction.com. So Ashley's freaking out because Ashley knows that she got this loan modification approved and she doesn't want this house sold from underneath this old lady because she'll have nowhere to go. So I'm like, okay, Ashley, hold on, let me call Pat. Pat is the real estate agent who was working, who didn't know anything. Like, let me call Pat. Call Pat, doesn't answer, leave her a voicemail. I'm like, hey Pat, do you still have the listing, blah, 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 blah. No answer. So I call the broker. Call the broker, no listing. Call the broker, no answer, leave a message, haven't heard from either of them since. Ashley's talking to this older lady and was like, hey, like, I never signed anything with them. I never did this, I never did that. And they said that they would cancel, so blah, blah, blah. So I remember that Ashley was talking to the broker at one point, and the broker told her that they would cancel the listing because they didn't think that the seller knew what was going on, so they're just going to cancel it. Which, it's no longer an active listing. The Pat came and took the sign out of the yard. So all I can do is assume that the listing was terminated. So Ashley's like, well, what should I do? And I'm like, well, you know, I know that the seller wants to stay in the house, and Ashley did. So Ashley was like, maybe if we just did a Subto where she could stay in the house. And I'm like, Ashley, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. She already did a loan modification, so there's no more arrears, and there's just a payment. And if this old lady just makes the payment, then somebody else can own the property. So what Ashley did was she got it under contract for Subto, right? This house, I think on the appraisal, it appraised for like 380 grand as it sits. And I think the ARV was like 475 because it's a really nice area. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. That sounds good. I know somebody who would be perfect for this because I recently sat down with a lady who works with these two gentlemen who have done the same situation, bought a house subject to from an older lady and allowed her to stay in the house until she passed. And I was like, this might be a perfect opportunity for them. So I might have a really good buyer. So I reached out to this lady, told her exactly, you know, what was going on and what we wanted. So Ashley wanted 40 grand. That was the number Ashley wanted. She wanted to try to wholesale it for 50 grand and, you know, give me 10, which I love Ashley. This is her first deal. I'm all for that, right? I'll do a split like that, even though it's nowhere near even. I'll do something like that just to kind of get her feet wet in the thing. But then my wheels started turning. I'm like, 40 to 10. I want to make more than 10 because I see if this is a good deal. And how did I know it was a good deal? So this house ARV was 475. Their only entry fee, because this lady was staying in the property, we already did a loan modification, so there were no arrears. There were no hidden liens that had to be taken care of, nothing. The only entry fee would be our wholesale fee and any closing costs and fees that they would have to pay. So they had a very low entry fee. So I was like, you know what? Let me ask for 70 grand. All right, 40 to Ashley, 30 for me. So I put in, I want 70 grand. And I told the lady all about it. So they're essentially buying 400 grand of equity for 70 grand. I don't know about y'all, but that's a no-brainer deal right there. Why would you not want to buy that much equity for such a small amount? So they were like, yeah, let's do it. You know, we'll do it at 70K. Now I'm like, damn, I should have asked for 100. You know, I should have asked for something crazy. But no, that made sense. 70 grand, I had it at like 16% of the ARV or something like that. So I just asked for it, and that's the number we got. So we have that in escrow right now. We have this older lady who's 86. She will get to remain in her home until she passes. She has no kids. She has no family to leave it to. She has nothing. So she was just gonna deed everything over to Ashley anyways. But Ashley was in a position where she kind of wants some money now, so she wanted to wholesale it. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. We got a good assignment fee. They're getting to buy a lot of equity, and this older lady gets to live the rest of her life without worrying about, you know, getting behind on her mortgage or worrying about anything that has to go on with the house. She can just live carefree. And that was Ashley's whole thing, was just trying to make it as easy as possible for her. So it's been a win-win situation for everybody involved. And it's me and this lady's first deal together. And me and her are planning on doing a lot of deals together. So I'm very, very excited about that. But that's the Subto story. I hope I told it right for you guys. I told you what I knew. I didn't really dive into the numbers because, I mean, I feel like they're very cut and dry. You know, the entry fee was, for them, is 70 grand plus maybe 1% closing costs, but it's very, very low. So this is just a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for all of us. Now, another thing that me and Ashley have been doing is Ashley. When I told you Ashley's a killer. Ashley's a killer. So Ashley is in the midst of buying a tow truck company. You know what? I'm gonna save that tow story because it's so good and it'll take so much time. We're already at roughly 10 minutes. That story is so good. I'm gonna save it for another time. But my people, I'll highlight y'all later.